Hey guys, welcome and/or welcome back to my channel. My name is Leah Catherine and this is Leah Sees Movies. Today I'm going to be talking about Netflix original film Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, directed by George Wolfe, written by Ruben Santiago Hudson, and based off the August Wilson play of the same name. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom stars Viola Davis, Chadwick Boseman, as well as Domingo, Glenn Turman, and Michael Potts. Ma Rainey follows Viola Davis as the titular Ma Rainey at a recording session in 1927 Chicago. She is the mother of blues and a huge hit in the South, but is still working on making her way as a success in the North. Chadwick plays Levy, who is kind of the more rebellious young musician. He's trying to make a name for himself on his own terms, and in doing so is causing a lot of friction within the band because he keeps, suggesting we play it this way, do it a little differently. How about we do it my way, even though, this is Ma Rainey's kingdom and they do as the queen asks and only what the queen asks. This movie is so good, guys. It is a very tight 90 minutes. Which is shocking when you watch it because you feel like you're so involved in the world and then the movie's over. And I will say part of the reason it's 90 minutes is because everybody talks so freaking fast. I talk fast. I know I talk fast. And this was putting a run for my money. Like I was like, huh? What? This movie definitely says keep up if you want to keep up, otherwise do your own thing. It does not hold hands, it does not wait for you. If you need captions, and I feel like a lot of people might, probably should put them on because they talk very quickly. But it is a 90-minute, very compact story. The entire plot takes place in one day, one recording session of Ma Rainey in Chicago. It's kind of hard to, figure out where to start. I can give you a basis of the plot, but because it is such a kind of concise story and it's over such a short period of time, I can't give you too much information about what happens over the course of the day without really ruining some of the best moments of the film. So I feel like what most people are going to focus on and what they should focus on is the strength of the performances. I'm going to start with Viola Davis since she does play the titular Ma Rainey, and really the best thing I can say about her is I forgot she was an actor. Because when Viola Davis enters a scene, you go, oh my god, that's Viola Davis. It's really hard to ignore the fact that it's Viola Davis. But beyond that initial it's Viola Davis reaction I had when she first got on, my screen, 30 minutes later, 40 minutes later, I literally had to shake myself and I went, oh, right, this is like an actress. I forgot. Like obviously, I think she put on some weight. I think she has a ton of makeup on, this really like thick, eyeshadow, eyeliner, me, what I look like after I cried through the end of the movie kind of situation happening. That was really thick layer of makeup on, but I forgot it was Viola Davis. Like I literally had to shake myself and go like, oh, this isn't a real person. I forgot, like she was real to me. Ma Rainey became entirely real to me, and she was not a character played by Viola Davis. She was Ma Rainey. She was a 1920s blues diva, and I accepted that at face value. She's so good in this movie. And I'm going to talk about Chadwick a little later, but unlike Chadwick's character of Levy, Ma Rainey does not get too much backstory. You get this one day of her. You get, these single quiet moments with Coleman Domingo, who plays Cutler, the head of her band, and you get these little 5-10 minute scenes with just them talking, but the rest of the time she's very much on. She's putting on a performance for the white music managers of this company that are laying down her record, and she has to be a diva. She has to be demanding because she knows they won't respect her otherwise. They're only here for her music. They don't really care for her. It's the 1920s and she's a black woman. When you note the fact that you don't get, like with most movie characters where you get this whole backstory, how they got there, the process of becoming the mother of blues, what she fought for, what she overcame. You don't know any of that aside from, the presumptive things she overcame. But with none of that, you believe this woman. You know who she is, you know what she's about. When she has these quiet moments, you listen to her and you're like, I get it. You see how much her music means to her. And even though she does act like a huge diva and the rest of it, to the point where if it was, a modern day thing, you'd be like, oh, this woman is exhausting. Nope. When you take into account the situation and the context and these little glimpses you get of who she is, you're like, I understand entirely why she behaves the way she does, and I'm rooting for her. Go girl, go demand another Coca-Cola, you deserve it. Colman Domingo, as I said, plays the head of her band, Cutler, and I almost think it's unfair for him to be in this movie. Not because he's not amazing, because he is. He's a wonderful supporting actor, but he is in between two just shining performances by Viola and Chadwick. He's the straight man against kind of both of their more dramatic characters, and he's so good, and he's the perfect foil to them. But it's just so hard when your eye is just drawn to the other side of the screen. But I do want to say he is great, and he deserves all the credit and acclaim he is getting because his performance is wonderful. But like I said, he's fighting against kind of a black hole of your attention. Gravity will draw you in one direction. Chadwick. I'm gonna be honest, I've cut this a few times because I was kind of stuttering over my words a little bit. I cried. He said "Hello, Chicago" at the beginning of the movie, and I was like, well, there we are. That's all it took. This is an amazing performance. Oh, look, it's still happening. This is an amazing performance by him. If it wasn't his last screen role, it would still be an amazing performance. He would still more than be in the Oscars conversation. He's a wonderful actor. If this movie was called Levy instead of Ma Rainey, I would accept it. Like, he fundamentally owns a large part of this movie. Like, as much as I said Viola is her character, he is Levy, and unlike Ma, Levy gets the backstory. Levy gets these beautiful, wonderful monologues where you understand entirely what makes this man who he is. And Chadwick's performance is so good, and he plays the drama role, and you know, I think that's an easy thing to talk about when he brings you to tears. But he has so much joy at the beginning. You know, like I said, Levy is a young kind of upstart musician with a very firm idea of what his future is going to be. He can see his own name in lights, and the energy that Chadwick brings to him, we've seen him play other musical artists, so we know he can sing, he can dance, he can do all of that. But he has so much joy and so much energy in this film, and whew, it's absolutely tragic. And when you think about the fact that what he was going through and how sick he was when he filmed this, it is incredible. It would have been incredible regardless, but you know, you can't ignore what we know now about what he was going through while he was filming, and it just, the layers it adds to his performance say so much about who he was as an artist and as an actor. Ooh, okay. If I didn't know this was based on a play, I could probably guess. The entire film pretty much takes place entirely in 2 rooms with a couple of street shots thrown in between, but it is very much monologue heavy. This movie reckons heavily with authenticity in art and how art is connected to the soul and identity of the artist and what it means to sell out, as a lot specifically with Black artists as they try to expand their audience to include white people, the ways in which they are forced to bend and manipulate and make concessions in order to appeal to an audience that they weren't necessarily trying to appease when they created their art in the first place. This movie actually had a similar artistic kind of contemplation as Rada Blank's The 40-Year-Old Version, also on Netflix, and please watch it, it's so good. But that movie starring Rada as a playwright who finds herself manipulating her play to appeal to white people, but in this case, instead of selling her joy, she's selling the concept of Black pain, the way that, you know, we see the Oscar movies are for Civil War movies, civil rights movements, slavery, the things of Black suffering, these images of pain that tend to be rewarded. In this one, the pure joy and happiness of what Ma and Levy are trying to make is being twisted to suit an audience that the art was never really made for. The last 10 minutes of this movie are an absolute punch in the guts. The movie kind of has a pretty consistent emotional back and forth. You have these really high, joyous, light moments, and then following really awful, tragic monologues. But I feel like overall it's a pretty balanced and light movie. And then in the last 10 minutes, just when you're like, oh, something kind of sad happened, but not something I didn't really expect, wow, the rug is just pulled out from under you, and you go from, okay, this isn't ideal, but I guess, you know, based in reality, to just, oh, ouch. I'm very upset now. I think if you cut the last 10 minutes of the movie, you'd still have a really like, aw, realism hurts ending. But the one they gave you instead, man, yikes. But it lingered harder, I think. The ending, as much as I was kind of like, man, you didn't have to do that to me. If they'd cut it, and they could have, it would have been a complete movie. But the ending you got makes the pain that you feel makes it linger. It makes you go, wow, okay, this is something I want to rewatch, because the historical relevance of it, as well as the artistic commentary of it, is all so valid and so interwoven with Black history and Black artistry. I'm not happy about the last 10 minutes at all, but I respect what they did. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is a wonderful film that you should watch immediately. It's on Netflix. You really have no excuse not to. Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman, I should be awash in awards. I encourage everyone to watch it at your earliest convenience, by which I mean my earliest convenience, which is now, right now. After you finish this, go watch it. It's really good. It's worth it. It's worth your time. It's worth your tears. Yeah, go see it. Thank you so much for watching my review. If you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see some of my old reviews, please check out my website, Leah Sees Movies. If you don't want to, you've watched all the way to the end of the video, and I still appreciate you. Thank you so much again. Peace.